What's up, Cupcake? I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to do workouts, steak sandwich, meals, and going to have a bit of fun. Let's get to it. Alright folks, we're just going to do some back extensions. I'm not sure if they're called back extensions, but... Alright, so we just did like 3 sets of 12 reps, I think. I'm not really fucking counting. I always feel like when I'm doing the sets and I somehow just forget track of counting the reps, which is probably not great if you're trying to train to failure. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do some rowing, nice and heavy. Let's get to it. As always, we do 2 sets till failure, or almost failure. Alright, now we're going to do some shoulder press. I'm not going to go too heavy here because I'm being barefoot, and I don't know what other reason, but also the setup here is a little bit different. Like the bench is not fixated, it's wooden floor, so it can maybe slip slightly. So safety always. So for me personally, since I sort of started lifting, I think I've gone through different curves, and studies have also sort of shown, like, I don't know, when I started off, everything was sort of bro science and you believed all those fitness influencers that were sort of juicing up. I think versus now it's much more transparent and people get sort of cooled out, and also so the training style has changed a bit, which I find sort of interesting. So I always research a bit and sort of adapt from there. But I think one major change I made was just not lifting so heavy anymore, and also seeing sort of a correlation between when I would lift really heavy to also having more injuries, which meant, you know, spending less time in the gym because, you know, sort of recovery. So I think me, at least personally, reducing the weight, going a little bit slower, still training to failure, has sort of really made a good improvement, you know, especially in sort of the not having injuries. So yeah, if you're starting to train out, I think another focus I would give is, you know, start slow, no ego lifting. There's no point. I think one major change I also made was no longer taking fucking supplements. I think the only supplement, and that is well studied, is creatine. Everything else I think is just fucking bullshit. Especially protein powders. They're incredibly expensive, and I think they're only really useful if you're maybe, you know, a high performing athlete and you need sort of those extra calories. But I think otherwise, if you're just a regular gym goer, you know, I think just save your money and just focus on more whole foods. I think it's much better, much healthier, and yeah, you just save your money. So these weights are absolutely amazing. They were a bit of a lifesaver when COVID happened, because all the gyms were closed. So I got these sets of dumbbells, and most of them are only running up to fucking 30, versus these ones, they go exactly up to 40, if you can see it, which is just absolutely amazing, because it's a nice working weight, heavy, without making sort of those smaller, more repetitive lifts. But yeah, good investment. Alright ladies, now we're gonna do some flies. Nothing too heavy, nothing too crazy. Keep it nice and light. So one other thing that I find always fun is a lot of friends, female friends that I have who are starting the gym, are a little bit concerned about getting potentially too bulky, especially in the arms, but that is just not possible. You don't have the same amount of testosterone as a man, and so you're never going to get like crazy jacked like a man would. Of course, unless if you take, you know, PEDs and anabolic steroid, then maybe it's a bit of a different story, but otherwise than that, I don't think you have to worry. I think it's a bit of a misconception, and I guess my tip here is really research it. If you're in doubt, just fucking research it, and don't just believe whatever is sort of circulating around. Just do your research. I think that's the easiest way to do it. So one fucking tip I can give you is that something I learned the hard way is don't forget to train your rear shoulder delts. It's really important. It also adds nice symmetry, but it also avoids, more importantly, any sort of potential injuries or bad posture. And I think as you sort of start, it's a smaller muscle, it's sort of harder to hit. It's often, I think, sort of neglected, as in my case. And so I ended up having issues, and now I'm sort of very focused on fixing it, but it takes a very long time. So if you are starting out, I definitely recommend don't neglect those rear side shoulder delts. Very important. So workout session done. Now we're gonna head into town and meet some meals. So I'm just thinking a little bit, brainstorming on what kind of sandwich I'm going to make, but I think it's going to be maybe a remake of a short that I've done not long ago, which was the truffle aioli steak brioche sandwich, which I think was incredibly delicious, and I think I want to retry it. So as you can see, it is almost 5:30, and here in Switzerland on a Saturday everything closes at 6, and on Sunday everything is closed. So hopefully we're still going to make it on time to get our groceries. Well, we're here at our next stop. I think we're gonna go first to the butcher, get a nice cut of steak. Not sure if Roman is around. If he is, great. Maybe we can ask him some questions. Otherwise, we'll just get something that I think will do the job for today. And then we're gonna quickly head into the grocery store and get our additional ingredients. And I think we need some good cheese as well. Okay, so we've gotten our meat. Now the next step is getting our groceries to build the bun, and then all the additional sort of fillings for it. And again, finding a really nice cheese. Bonsoir. Vous parlez anglais? Little bit. Little bit, okay. I'm looking for something like Parmesan with a nice bite, or something a bit different maybe. All right, so we've done our grocery shopping, also some additional shopping because Switzerland weekends, Sunday, everything is closed. But yeah, so we got our ingredients. Now we're gonna head back, start prepping, and hopefully we're going to make a really nice steak sandwich. We're in a bit of a time rush. Sun is about to come down more or less in the next few hours. I'm just gonna get an Uber. I'm just gonna make it a little bit more quicker and more comfortable. I feel like also it's becoming a bad habit of mine, catching too many Ubers. Such a waste of money, especially in Switzerland because we have such amazing public transport. Bonjour. Ah, non, je sais pas si c'était jet. We didn't end up filming the inside the butcher, but the meat is really beautiful. So we got some Japanese Wagyu steak with some really beautiful heavy marbling. Probably not going to do sous vide technique because I don't think it makes sense here because it might render too much fat into it. So we're going to just do a classic steak grilling. So we're back in my kitchen. We have all of our ingredients here. It is quite simple, but I think that is the beauty in this sandwich. We're also going to add some hand-cut chips in there. I'm going to sort of make it kind of like a copycat version of McDonald's fries. We have some really nice wine. I think this particular wine, or the grape at least, only exists here in Switzerland and is not produced anywhere else in the world. I've already had it. It is really beautiful, and I think it's going to live up to this really fatty gourmet sandwich. We have some Parmesan cheese. I also got some Appenzeller cheese. I'm not sure if we're going to add it, but could maybe be interesting. I'm going to have some pear jam, maybe some green apple slices to be mixed through with our rucola salad. We have some herbs, some olive oil, some vinegar, and some egg and flour to make our lovely dough. It looks really good, and I'm happy to get this rolling. So now we're gonna make our brioche dough. Add our flour, salt, sugar, our yeast mixture. We're gonna add our butter as well, a lot of butter. Our tangzong, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And 2 eggs. Alright, we're gonna give this a light mix. Once it gets together, I'm gonna put it on high for about 10 to 12 minutes so that it has a nice elasticity. Then we're going to proof it and start making them. In the meantime, we're gonna start working on our potatoes. So ideally, to recreate sort of those McDonald's fries, you need to have quite long potatoes. Here I'm using I think they're called Celiante. I'm not sure if they're the most perfect potato variety, but I've tried them before and they work quite well. In terms of sort of like the size as well, I'm just sort of eyeballing it here. Not too thick, not too thin. So, dough is done. It looks nice and smooth. Oops, it's a little bit hot. Gonna roll this into a tight ball. Give a good spank, then you know it's good. It's been a good girl. And now we're gonna rest this bad boy until it doubles in size, which is about, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour. So next we're gonna start working on our beautiful copycat fries. And we're gonna do it first a bath, which consists of water, vinegar, salt, and sugar. And so we're just gonna cook these potatoes nice and slow until they're almost fall apart. Taste, we're good to go. So now we're gonna work on our pear jam while our fries are in a beautiful water bath. I'm just gonna peel up here the skin, remove the skin. Just gotta de-seed it as well. Alright, there we go. That's our pear puree / juice. And now we're going to cook this off with some jam sugar. Now if you're making this with jam sugar and because you need to cook it on quite a high heat, it's always best to use a larger pot or a pot that is 3 times the size of your final liquid amount, if that makes sense. I also noticed when I made smaller quantities of this vanilla pear jam, you have to be a little bit careful with the cooking aspect. I think you almost have to go a little bit lower than the classic 4 minutes because you end up almost overcooking it and it becomes this really sort of very sticky gel consistency rather than this beautiful viscous jam. So 369, so 370, here we go. Not a lot of sugar if you think, no. But you know me, I like it sweet, just like my women. So now we're gonna add some aromatics and add a bit of vanilla. Just gonna split this in half, strip out the seeds, whip, bada boom. And we're just gonna add this in here, such. And then we're also gonna add a bit of thyme, and a bit of rosemary. I think the last version I didn't add any rosemary. It makes probably a minor difference, but we're just testing out a little bit, I guess. And once it boils, we'll do the classic jam setting, whatever the fucking technique is, which is I think 4 minutes. And then we're going to take it off heat, allow it to cool, and then blend it into a smooth, beautiful puree. On that note, without the aromatics that we added. So our jam cooking is done. We're just going to add a bit of butter here. Sort of a nice richness. So now I'm going to make our mayo. A bit of caster sugar. I'm going to add some neutral oil. Okay, now we're going to season it with some bianco speciale condimento mazzetti, which is, I guess, well, I don't guess, but it's sweet vinegar. Alright, that is at least done for the base. Now we're going to add some truffle pieces in. So I didn't get any fresh truffles, so we're using these truffle pieces that come, I guess, in oil. I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of that into our mayonnaise. But before that, I'm just going to chop it up a little bit. Like that. Just going to add it in here. Now I'm going to season with sea salt, flaky salt. Really happy with this. It's nice, beautiful, rich. Has sort of a nice sweetness to it, balanced with sort of a nice truffle note as well. And then that's sort of a nice acidity coming through as well with that Aceto Bianco Balsamico, which I think is a little bit nicer versus using just regular white wine vinegar. That said, probably didn't need to add the sugar. So I'm just going to put this into a piping bag. This is not really necessary. You could also just put it into a container and then spoon it on when it's ready. Beautiful truffle sweet mayo. It has risen. I'm gonna shape this into beautiful buns. Like always, you have to be a little bit careful with brioche. It expands quite a lot. So usually when you think you have a small bread roll that you've pre-shaped, you end up actually with much a larger one. So I'm just going to flatten this a bit. Tuck the sides in. I'm going to roll it over and just roll into a tight log as such. Right, so our rolls have been nicely rolled out. I'm just going to brush it with the egg wash, which is just egg, a touch of water, and a bit of glucose to give it a nice shine. I'm going to do this once, let them proof till they're double, and then we're going to recoat one more time. So our potatoes have softened. So we're going to let them drain here a little bit and dry out all that steam. So our fries have sort of steamed off, and we're just going to fry them in batches, just so they have sort of a nice crispy shell. So now we're going to continue with our bread here, brioche, give it another coating here. Preheated oven, just slide this in. You have a board, parchment paper, bread, slide in, chef's kiss. So here we have our beautiful Wagyu steak, absolutely beautiful marbling. Going to be very interested to see how this is going to taste. I think going to be very fitting and appropriate for our beautiful steak sandwich. Our fries, they have a really nice exterior crisp, and that's good enough for us. I'm going to move to the second batch. Again, ideally it needs to be on a drip tray just to sort of let that excess oil to drip off, and for that any sort of additional water to escape. Coming with our second batch steak, I'm just going to add just a tiny bit of oil, not too much. This is a flip. Get a nice coating of salt. Now, for those wondering, oh, is this too much salt? Well, sea salt generally is less saltier than table salt. So you can actually add much more salt than you would with table salt. Something I learned while I was working for an amazing place called Rockpool Bar and Grill in Melbourne. There we go. Once that is done, we're just going to place it into the freezer to ideally freeze or semi-freeze, and then we're going to refry everything again. All right, so our brioche is done, looking good. So these are looking absolutely beautiful. Not so pretty as I like them to be. I think part of it is because I've been freestyling the dough ratio, but sort of these smaller ones here in the end are coming out quite nice. I think also kind of like stacking them up made them a little bit less sexy, so you're gonna have a bit of a breakage here on the side, but it is what it is. Ultimately it will come down to fucking flavor. Alrighty, we are about to wrap up. It is a little bit darker than I anticipated. Initially I wanted it to be a little bit more sunnier. I think it would have been a little bit more beautiful, but it is what it is. That said, our beautiful charcoal barbecue is ready to go. It is nice and hot. That's how we want it. We just got to reduce those flames a little bit more, so a little bit more amber is needed, but looking good. All right, our beautiful steak, here we go. Beautiful crust here. Be a little bit careful though that we're not burning it too much. So we have rested our steak. It's been several minutes. Now we're just going to chuck it back onto the grill just to give it a nice reheat and a nice, I guess, sort of finishing sear. Not to cook it further, just to essentially heat it up. And now we're going to slice and fucking dice. So this is our pear jam. I'm just going to blend this, just so it in a way emulsifies or jellifies. It's going to become a little bit smoother and less jam-like. So as you can see, let's scoop this out. It's a little bit wider and a little bit more liquid. I feel like making good bread is like having good sex. You just need to get it right. Yeah, we just choose our best ones. We're gonna cut it open and then prep it, and then we're gonna slightly toast them. So look at this beautiful slice here down the middle. Look at that. Fucking gorgeous. This one as well. I'm just gonna add a tiny touch of oil just to give this a bit of a nice toast here. Bottom down. So we have our Appenzeller cheese, another amazing Swiss cheese of Switzerland. Right, and then we have some Parmesan cheese, 24 months aged. Just gonna taste this just to see if it makes sense. Really rich, and sort of those salt crystals, and a bit of a kick. Yeah, I think it could be nice in combination with the Parmesan cheese. So let's just give it a go and try it out. It's a little softer, but I think in combination with the two, it's gonna make a dope fucking steak sandwich. So here we have our beautiful Wagyu steak. Just gonna slice this. I think for this one, we want sort of semi. Just absolutely beautiful. Now we're going to do our fries. They're supposed to be fucking frozen, but we're in a bit of a time rush, so they're kind of like a bit soft. Not so ideal, but you know what? It should work. So, Human Rouge, AOC Ballet 2022. If you ever get a hold of this, you gotta fucking try it. Absolutely amazing. It works really well with sort of rich and heavy dishes. Oh. All right. Cheers. Strong kick, nice roundness, really full-bodied, just absolutely delicious. Now we're just gonna build our salad. We're gonna add our rucola. Now we're just gonna add some green apple. Just yeah, just like that, like kind of almost like fries, I guess. So our fries are done, nice and golden. I'm just gonna add a touch of salt, not too much. Remember, we sort of pre-season them while we were blanching them. That could be a great video to do side-by-side comparison between McDonald's fries and these copycat fries, just to see in terms of flavor if there's any sort of major difference. I think they're quite close. The key difference here is they use tallow fat in their frying process. Here I just use regular frying oil, so you don't have that tallow fat flavor coming through. But other than that, I think taste-wise, it's sort of a touch sweetness. But yeah, really delicious. So we're gonna start building. We have our base. I'm gonna add a touch of that here and thyme gel. Let's give it a nice spread. Absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna go here with a little bit less meat because it is quite fatty and rich. I think if you had maybe a grass-fed steak piece, you could add a little bit more meat. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Very, very happy with that. So now we have our salad. I'm just gonna add a touch of oil, not too much. Don't wanna do an overkill here. Just gonna add a little bit of that salad. Pear, what am I saying? Pear, apple. Love that rucola too. Sometimes I feel like the rucola in the shop sometimes looks just fucking absolute trash. But here it is looking bang on. Now we come with our cheese. So a bit of that Parmesan. A little bit of that Appenzeller cheese. Absolutely delicious. Gotta try it if you've never had it. And now we're gonna come with our truffle mayonnaise. We're gonna add just a touch here, not too much. That should do. And doing a closing. Here we have it. I mean, look at that. That looks absolutely beautiful. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. With a glass of wine. Last but not least, fucking fries, which I forgot. There we have it. Bottom up. I mean, going into this, I already knew it was going to be absolutely A1 banging. I mean, I've already tried it. It worked out incredibly well. And this remake here is just the same. I think the addition of the green apple slices brings an additional freshness here that I really appreciate, especially with that really sort of rich and fat Wagyu cut. The rucola has sort of a nice pepperiness to it. The truffle aioli is nice and subtle. The pear gel with vanilla, thyme, and rosemary comes through as well, brings sort of a nice sweetness to it. The Wagyu cut is nice and barbecuey. It has sort of a nice charcoal feel to it, smokiness to it. And then last but not least, the cheese with the brioche just works wonderfully well. All in all, absolutely delicious. The fries as well. And of course, with that wine, there's nothing else I can say. That said though, if you do want to recreate those recipes, you'll find them on my website. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and till next time.